Hello, fellow viewers. Welcome to another day, another race, another season in Indian racing community esports. It is I, watching part of Nirma. Along here in the comment box with me is Dan, the SSJassassin. Before we begin, I just want to wish everyone a happy Gudi Padwa and Ramadan Mubarak. It is an amazing month we have here, and today's race is going to be in the Hungaroring in Hungary. A lot of us have very good memories, I believe, from the 2021 season, mainly with, I believe, Alonso and Hamilton having a fierce battle. What do you think?
Yes, indeed. And first off, let me wish all our viewers a very good evening. And yes, definitely, Hungaroring last season, I mean, the IRL season gave us a lot of action and memories to take away. It's not just that we can't obviously forget the Bottas moment, Bottas slash Stroll moment out of turn one, which caused the entire hold up, and that was also an anecdote from that race. So yes, indeed, Hungaroring is definitely a track which will give us a lot of entertainment for sure.
Now, with our standings in the current championship in Tier 1, Moto leads with 131 points, followed by place 6 in the Haas. I'm sorry, correction, in the Alfa Romeo with 128 points, is trailing by 3 points from the Haas driver. Third position is the real SG with 122 points, trailing by a mere 6 points. So the top three are already within 10 points of each other. P4, Helium in the Aston Martin is 112, 10 points away. So the top three is something we definitely need to keep an eye on. Now, when we move on to the constructors, Haas are already flying away. Haas drivers being Banat or Azim Banatwala and Moto with 204 points accumulated for the Haas team. The Aston Martin drivers, I believe Helium and who is the second driver? Star Max Lord having 149 points. Alfa Romeo with 144. It's 5 points behind Aston Martin. So it's the constructors as well as the drivers' standings, which is very, very fierce and very, very close.
Yes, indeed. And before we go any further, let's all welcome your co-commentator for today, our co-commentator for today, Koushik Tummala. How's it going, buddy?
Going well, a pleasant evening to you all, and looking forward to this race. Tier 1 is always going to be exciting. So I'm just really, really excited for this race as well. So, yeah, let's see what's going to happen today. Yesterday, the ACC was very, very interesting race. So I expect nothing less from the F1 boys here today. So let's go.
Yes, let's go on to the track video. Why don't you take it away, Koushik?
We see here in the track video, we have three sectors and two DRS zones, and it's a very twisty and very complicated circuit, very technical as well, especially the middle sector. We have a lot of turns, so yeah, we have to look out for some incidents happening in the sector 2, perhaps with some damaged wings and stuff like that. So it's basically Monaco without the walls. So yep, really exciting.
Yep. Now let's move on to the Hotlap video featured by yours truly.
Of the Hungaroring here in Budapest in Hungary. Now, preparing yourself for turn 1, you want to be on the left hand side. Watch out for the DRS board on the exit. Now, watching your braking at just between the 150, so around 75 meters. Take an early apex, avoid the curb on the outside on the exit as it will unsettle the car. Preparing yourself for turn 2, you want to be braking just before the 50-meter mark on the left. Take a narrow line, cut back and swing the car into this right-hander using all the track on the left-hand side. Preparing yourself for this high-speed corner, you want to be on the right-hand side, flick the car into the left. Take a wide line for this one. Short shift on the exit, but be careful as you go over the curbs. Braking just before the curb starts for this chicane. You want to short shift again to get a good traction out of that corner. Now, for the S's, you want to take experiment with a lot of lines here. You can take, stay off the curbs in the race as it will save your tires. Now, for turn 9, you want to flick the car in. Make sure your minimum speed is extremely high. And for this one, braking just before the curb starts on the left hand side. Be careful over the curbs. Now for the most technical corner on this track where you're braking and turning at the same time, you want to balance the car with the throttle on the exit. And for this last corner, take a narrow line in these cars. You want to put the power down as early as possible, get good traction, and that's a lap of Hungaroring.
And we are back. That was a very exciting live from our streamer SSJassassin.
Thank you, thank you.
Uh, so that's a good heads up for the coming up race for you guys to get used to the track and track layout. And right now we're into the quali. The quali has just begun. Weather forecast looking really good for the guys out there because Hungaroring in the wet, it's probably one of the most challenging circumstances you could race in. And I think tier 2 guys or tier 3 guys have done that for the conditions and they really despised it. So today, these guys have a better chance with the conditions. And I think it's just all about that red hot pace in the qualifying session to get that pole position. So let's see who has the upper hand. I don't know how the form has been because it's been a long time since I commentated, so I didn't bother checking how the drivers are performing since a long time. But forgive me for that. But I think probably Moto and Banat are probably the favorites going into this round. Am I right?
Well, as a team collectively, Haas drivers Moto and Azim Banatwala have been pretty strong. They have all consistently been one position ahead of or together of each other, so they basically slingshot each other. At least as far as the past few races I've been commentating in Tier 1. So the Haas drivers, both of them, is something you definitely keep an eye on. And I would also say keep an eye on Ashray because he shows consistent pace, and I would say an eye on Black Sheep too. He does show pace a lot of times, but then it's just unlucky circumstances. In France as well, he just got completely yeeted into the shadow realm whilst going wheel to wheel with Couple 6. We still have no idea what happened. I did not check the Tier 1 reports channel on our Discord. Just gonna plug in our Discord. If you are a fellow sim racer and an enthusiast of sim racing, feel free to join us in Discord. Link in the description below.
Yep. As we see here, Ashray's started his lab. So let's see what his pace is going to be. I'm very oblivious towards the top times are because it's been a long time since I played the game and I don't think I've ever done this track while I did play the game. So I don't know what times are they expecting. Do you know any of it?
Well,
Nirma?
ironically enough, Koushik, you are one of the guys who is on top of my leaderboard, so you should be the one who's talking about it. But yeah, I think for a race, the ideal, sorry, for the quali session, the ideal time should be in the high 114s to mid 114s. Like mid 114s should be like from the drivers who are the quickest. But yeah, I'm expecting high 114s.
Yep, that seems like a good pace actually. Let's see what Ashay can do here on the medium tires nonetheless. Interesting strategy. I don't know if they're gonna commit to mediums or go to the softs. Let's see throughout the session because I know that Hungaroring is very hard on tires and people just want to do the alternate side, especially in races like these where you really don't know where you're going in terms of racecraft with the other guys or how it's going to pan out in the race in general. You might want to bank on those alternate strategy options so that you have a better chance in getting a few positions back that way. But as we see here, Black Sheep setting the pace once again. Very close between Astra and Black Sheep here, both on the same compounds. So 16 mid 16s here, so 16.6. That seems like a respectable time on the medium tires because I think the tire delta between the softs and mediums is around 9/10 or something like that in this track because you need that grip, especially in sector 2. You need that soft tire rubber to grip up the car and give you that lap time. So everyone's doing medium tires. Only the LSD did on soft tires, but that was unrepresentative. Whereas we see Nomo Pro player, I think starting his lap right now. He's one of the contenders as well. Definitely, all the time he's very fast, very consistent, and always at the top positions. Nomo Pro player. So very interesting to see what's going to happen with those positions there.
as we have a yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 2, possibly cars slowing down. Yep, we see cars slowing down, letting each other pass. It's a pretty narrow track in some spots of the corner, so, the cars that are on the in lap are gonna have a field trip to let the cars on a hot lap by. But then we already see a lot of cars already setting up blistering laps, and we have a Haas stopped at the final near sector 3. I don't know what happened there. I think he just spun out, or might be just stopping to let the cars by. Anyways, moving on. We have already 7 cars setting up laps. Realistically, as you said, not a representative time, setting up 1:27. Now he goes for a 1:17.4. He's still way off, considering that he's on the soft tires and should be setting a quicker lap. But Black Sheep goes for a 16.2. Now, as I mentioned, Black Sheep does have pace, but then there have been weekends where, it's just luck is in on his side, or either it's just us commentators giving him the commentator curse, as we have a lot of drivers exiting the pits. Harry Rocks going for second or third lap on his softs, possibly killing them. A lot of cars on track. It's gonna get really hectic for the drivers, as we have the McLaren and the Alpine behind the Alpha of Harry Rocks on getting on a lap. Alpine lets the McLaren pass, but now we are on board with Harry Rocks, who goes for a right-hander. You need to avoid the curb on the right, or it's gonna be bye-bye, tata for you into the barriers. A little aggressive on the curbs over here. I think when we were on board with SD, completely put his car onto the curbs. A very technical part of the track as we are on. You go a little bit wide, and as you see, you get your lap invalidated, as Harry learned it the hard way, and he goes very, very wide over there. You need to carry a lot of speed. Hard braking zone over here as well when you enter the long left-hander, which leads you on to the long right-hander, which then goes on to the start finish straight. We have no more blue player behind Mr. G. I don't know how bad the dirty air is in this game, but that is redundant because no more blue player already went to the pits. Versus G goes on to the start finish straight. Now on to his timed lap.
Right. Yep. Wilson G is coming here. So I wanted to talk about one other thing is banker laps. So especially in tracks like this, back when I used to race in season 6, I think season 7, it used to be very competitive at the top. And one of the big things, as we see, Wilson G is spinning around. That was a big mistake from him. That's unusual because that corner is usually flat. When you take the left, put complete to the left and cut it to the right, it usually is completely flat. So I guess the medium tires are not working for Wheelster here. So it just spun around, and that will put some tire wear onto those tires. So he'll have to go again, or maybe switch onto the soft compound to give him some more grip there. But Moto here on his hot lap, not setting a lap time yet. But as I said, yeah, the banker laps are really important. I think that's what at least some of the guys at the top were doing, the mediums maybe. Because with the mediums, if you're not committing to the mediums, you can just use the mediums in the quali and then use it as a banker lap basically, and then you can do like 2 or 3 soft tire runs after that. So it's a good strategy as well. I used to use that. It sometimes paid off, sometimes didn't. But the most important point is banker lap. So you have to get that banker lap in, so that whenever you go into the next lap, you'll have some good delta, so that you can aim how much you have to improve every single corner. Let's see what the Has boys are doing. Banath setting a 120.8 on the mediums. Still quite a bit off as you'd say. Let's see what Moto does on the soft tires. So this should be a bit more representative. Kapiles meanwhile is on pole position right now. 15.4. That's way faster than the guy in P2 Black Sheep. I don't know if the Black Sheep's time is still on mediums, or did he switch onto the soft tires? I'm not sure about it, but it's like 8/10 difference between the top 2 guys. Moto still on his lap. I think he invalidated previously when he started his lap. He's going for one other lap. Usually soft tires, just 1 lap, that's it. Second lap, you're just not going to get the grip, and the delta is just going to keep on climbing. So it's preferred that you set your lap time on your first lap, but if you can't do it, especially for banker lap, it's fine if you go on your second or third lap as well. As you see Moto navigating and goes a bit wide but doesn't invalidate his lap because I think he's let off the throttle or something like that. Now he's coming into the end of the sector 2. Now onto the final corner. Let's see what his lap time is gonna be. Pushes it to a bit wide but cuts it back again. Runs it wide onto the curb. Let's see what the lap time is gonna be. Speed 2 for him. Still half a second off nearly from Kapil. So that's a big delta again. I don't know if that's what we're gonna expect for the rest of the quali, or somebody can get closer to Kapil and maybe even dethrone him in the pole position.
Well, if you ask me, Envy set a bomber of a lap in those set of mediums. It's you know, you usually find medium runners doing 16.3s and 5s, but yeah. So I mean, the closest medium runner to him is Black Sheep, who set that point 16.277 on mediums, but he's just blown off the medium, the rest of the field, the rest of the medium runners field with almost into the 15s kind of lap. That's
Yep, I agree.
outstanding on his part. He's doing all of this with the controller.
Oh, that's. Oh wait, I remember Envy. He's from round 1 in Austria. He was leading, I think, in Austria in round 1. He looked like a prodigy this season. I forgot. Forgive me for that, but I forgot him after that. But yeah, Envy definitely one of the challenges for the top positions.
He's
Just
one of the faster guys in Tier 1, but he's just had a bit of a run of bad luck in the last few races. He's had a few top 5 finishes though, but yeah, if his luck was with him, he could have even made it into the podium.
Yep. As we see a change in top positions there, no more pro player goes just a bit faster. Kapil around 310, 300s of a second gets a provisional pole position as of now. Let's see if that's enough. I don't think it is, because in the last few minutes the track is going to ramp up massively. And so I hope everybody saved their last set or sets of poly tires, soft compound tires left for them to set that final 1 lap pace to secure that track position, because in this track, without the track position, you're just going to be stuck behind these slower guys. And unless you're completely in a different league compared to them, it's very hard for you to do your own race and control your pace in the race. Meanwhile, we see Real SD here going into Sector 3. No such issues as we saw with Wilster, because SD, I think, is still on the mediums. Yep, he's still on the mediums. So I don't know. I think he's aiming for the medium strategy here, seeing how late he's going onto these tires and how late he's setting his lap time. Oh, that's a big zap of oversteer, and he's done. He's spun around. That's it for his lap now. Let's see if he's going to continue with the next lap. But we see Akash here, who went on the top, who dethroned no pro player just around 1/10 of a second, and is now on P1. He goes a bit wide and cuts his lap. While we see Kapil here doing his lap.
You can see a lot of contrast in how people are taking that chicane. We see Kapil is completely staying off from the sausage curbs. And then we have SD who's completely mounting his car on the curbs. And you can see the corner exit oversteer that SD got completely botching up his lap. And that's the lap gone for SD. But then Kapil is, you can contrast in how the drivers are taking that specific chicane in question. As Kapil is already going 2 purple sectors, and is it the golden lap for Kapil 6? And it is! He is 3/10 quicker. He sets a 14.9, gets pole position again.
Yep, as I said, the track is ramping up massively, and it's just gonna evolve and evolve until you see the final few laps that will probably set the pole position. I'm not convinced that Kapil's lap will stay, because the faster guys coming now for his position.
As we're coming into the final few minutes of the qualifying session, just 3 minutes, you can possibly set 3 laps if you're currently on an off lap, as we see simply YT, the only driver who has not set a lap yet. Sartanish and Mr. G can also consider no lap set because of the timings they've done. Those guys are way quicker than what they have set, obviously, because 117 is the slowest lap currently. If you can talk about it, 173 realistically, spinning off into the into the chicane in the second sector, as we are currently on board with Black Sheep of 16.2 currently, almost 1.3 seconds off pace from the pole position. It's a lot of delta.
Yep, and I think I saw a purple second sector. I don't know if it's representative or it was just a bug, but let's see what is going to lap time is going to be. I think he's going to, yep, he's going to the top, but not quite the pole position. But he's going to P2, and that'd be good enough for him, I think. But still this time, but I don't know if the soft tires can handle one more lap. Let's see what the other guys can do. Moto. Interesting what happened with him there. I think he invalidated his lap time. He was just all over the place on the curves going to sector 2. So he might have invalidated his lap, maybe even just discarded his lap given how poor it was. So there's more to come from him as well. I'm sure of it. As we see a Dwajin pushing here for his lap, going purple in sector 1. That's not usually a big sector, but it's very tricky one as well. So let's see if we can continue. Oh, that's a bit wide to the entry of the chicane, and he's fighting the car a bit. That's a good line, and yep, that's a good line as well. So he's continuing the lap. It goes a bit wide to the entry of chicane, but let's see if it doesn't cost him that much of a time. He actually invalidates it. Never mind. Yep, that looked like a good lap, to be honest. It's a shame that he invalidated because I think it could have been top 5 or something like that. We see Tanish going wide and he invalidated his lap as well. I don't know why he's struggling, or maybe it's on purpose, maybe. Or maybe he just didn't have any practice, because he was complaining about not having enough time to practice for these races. Just like a lot of people, but still practice is very important when you're in, especially when you're in tier 1 and the pace is so close and pace is so fast. Without practice, you're not going to do well unless you're a Jarno Ockmeyer or someone like that. Unless you're naturally talented with the sim racing, you're just not going to do well without practice. As we see Black Sheep retiring, so that's it for him. So he's going to start in P2 at the maximum, whereas Tanish completely bottles to turn 5, I think, and wrecks his car. So that's his end for the qualifying session. Was not good, is not looking good for him anyway previously, but now it's completely out of his hands. He's done for the session. So that's where he's going to start. He's going to start damn last for the race coming up. Meanwhile, we see Kapiles, I think, still trying to improve, but oh, he's still on his outlap perhaps. Yeah, he's on his outlap apparently. But yeah, we see no more problem coming out. The final corner, did he move? He did not. He went slower by 310, so that's him done as well, pretty much. Still 14 seconds left, but he backs out of this lap, so that's him done. So that's where he's going to start at the maximum. We are yet to see about Akash Sonavane, Moto, and perhaps some other people as well who can possibly do something with the pole position. We see Moto here trying to do his best. He's only 8,000 off the pace. He's pushing it to the maximum. He's absolutely on the limit of the tracks there. Very nice chicane, very nice chicane. This time around, no understeer for him, and he's looking very good. The lines are very good as well, so he's not oversteering, he's not understeering in the entry. Let's see what he's gonna do. Oh, it's a bit of, he went a bit wide there, but this is still enough. Oh, he's very close. Purple sector 2, and he's only 17,000 off the pace. Let's see what's gonna happen. He's rounding off the penultimate corner here. He's coming up to the final corner. Can he dethrone Kapil from that pole position? Very important pole position on this track because it's a short run with the line. You see, oh no, that's not enough. Shows it's only 55,000 off, but I don't think that's representative. But he's going to the top 5 and Haas once again, proving the consistency is there, even though they lack the overall pace in terms of 1 lap pace at least. They're proving that they're consistent and they're working together. So they're P4 and P5. I'm surprised Moto isn't faster than Banat, but Banat seems to be doing very well this season. I think he's doing a lot of practice perhaps. They improved a lot as well, so very excited to see those pairings fight it out this race, and hopefully don't entangle with each other and lose time or just involve themselves in accidents, but just work together and just put that Haas where it belongs in the top positions.
Well,
So that's it for the qualifying.
I'm actually quite shocked to see Moto in P5 because he is one of the fastest drivers we've got. I mean, he put himself in P2 in the last race in Mexico. Um, yeah, and obviously he was also telling that he did not have much time to practice this time. He in fact did his practice runs only in today, so that pretty much explains his lap time in quali,
Yep.
performance in quali.
What's your take, Nirma? What's your take on the quali?
Well, qualifying is going to tell us one thing for the race. A lot of penalties coming up because Tanish completely yeeted his car into heaven after the fast right-hander and simply YT invalidating his lap number of times, Moto invalidating his lap number of times. Numerous drivers are going to get penalties, so it's going to be a penalty fest. And if our commentator scores work right, we might be able to get some DNFs. Wink, wink.
Yep, absolutely. Was surprised as well. Assassin Moto didn't do well, but it's the cost you pay for not practicing, as we said, just like Tanish for not practicing, because both of them are supposed to be the prodigies of IRC, especially since how they have been performing in the last seasons, especially in the last game as well. They've been rapid, especially Tanish. I'm surprised he is lacking so much. Tanish was pretty much a prodigy, the next Maranello baby of the server, you could say, the five-time champion.
Yeah,
It
well,
was supposed to be that, and but now he just is just lacking a bit in terms of practice and uh, putting
college
it all
life is
together.
college life is taking its toll on Tanish, unfortunately.
Yep,
He complains to
and
us every single day saying that it's getting too hectic. So yeah,
yep.
it's
We wish
understandable.
him best. I hope nothing's too serious in his life and doing it just for fun. Remember, everything is just for fun here. We push each other just to see how much of love we can give to this hobby of sim racing. So I hope everyone's doing good first of all, and I hope Tanish is doing good as well in his life. So apart from that, let's see what's gonna happen. Is we're preparing for the race here. One more thing I wanted to talk about was what was I wanted to talk about? I think the gaps. I think gaps between the people. I'm surprised it's not actually that big because usually some guy sets a rapid pole position and we don't see other guys matching up to it. I think the who was that? Kapil, right?
It was
Kapil said
Kapil,
it.
yes, indeed. He was quite far off the pace of the other guys as well. So yeah, I
Yep,
think Kapil just had a good day in the quali run today. So and the other
yep,
guys might not have had as much of a good day as he did. But
yep,
not, I mean, this track is quite challenging as it is, especially since the update from the last game where the curbs have turned into monsters and they are killing the drivers left and right. Just
yep,
mount them a little too much, an inch extra, and you'd be sent flying into the walls, as we saw with Tanish today.
yep.
And the same happened with the Tier X boys as well. We saw 3 or 4 of the drivers being wiped out in the same corner at different stages in the race. So
As
yes,
we see here, formation lap is starting. So it's gonna be one lap around the circuit before they set their grid positions. Finally, hit up the tires, get everything ready for the dash into turn one because it's gonna be very short dash. And hope Kapil can keep it together to not get overtaken by Black Sheep. The top 8 guys are on softs. Envy did his lap on medium, so that's an interesting strategy from him. So he's not out of the top 10. He's still in the top 10, but he's starting on medium. So we see Say and the Gupta get disqualified from the formation lap. So their ties might be very very cold when the race starts. One more thing I want to talk about before we set the positions is the nerves you get in qualifying. I remember I used to do so much practice, and I think a lot of people used to do so much practice. Back in season 6, in the peak of COVID times when we had that season, we were just grinding and grinding and grinding the day for that one day in Sunday so that we could set that perfect lap. And we were so nervous coming into the race day, especially in quali. We had the same quali as now, just 1 minute, one qualifying session. So you mess up your banker lap, that's it. You're done for the quali. That's how bad it used to be, because you start to get nervous. The confidence you had in the practice is just not going to be there, especially since you did it in time trial or maybe in the Grand Prix session. But now you're coming into the real thing. One mistake would cost you a lot. So you're always nervous every single corner. Just tone it back a little bit, and then if you tone it too much, it's just going to bite you back, and you're just going to lose so much time. So I think this season, a lot of guys haven't been practicing that much. Maybe they are coming into these sessions with a bit of an open mind, even though the pace is not there for them. I think they're coming into this like, we'll see what happens. They'll just race the best they can and just put up a good fight. Oh, we see Harry Rock spinning around for finishing his lap.
Don't worry about it. That's aggressive driving. That's aggressive driving.
I voted for the right option and the bingo bongo game.
Well, as you mentioned that, make sure you join IRC Discord and you sign up on our website and also take part in IRC Bingo, as mentioned by Dan theSSJassassin. And now I'm going to hijack the comment box because I love commentating on the lap 1 chaos, as we have completely lined up all the cars on the start finish line, and we have all the cars poising, and we're gonna wait for the 5 red lights. We have 3, 4, 5 red lights, a little bit of pause, and lights out, and away we go. As we have Black Sheep and Companies going equally well on the line. Companies cuts around, but we see a Red Bull getting yeeted out by Moto, I believe, and it's going to be very, very bad damage, as we have Black Sheep going on the inside of Moto in the Haas. Company 6 on the Alfa Romeo flying into the open air, as we have the Ferrari completely not opposed, but then we also have both the drivers from Alpine and the Haas battling out, as we have wheel bang in between Black Sheep and I believe that's Banat, Zim Banatwala battling, but then he has to back out before the left-hander, as we have the damaged Red Bull for Tsunami way back, as we have Tadish and we have no Pro player in the other Alpine battling one of the horses into the barrier. That's not going to be very good.
As I was saying, that was a very aggressive start from Banat, I think. Was battling with the Alpine of Black Sheep. That was very aggressive driving from both of them, very on the edge. They banged the wheels a couple of times, but now I think they're free from any damage, and they've finally settled onto their position. So the top 4 looking very spicy. Kapil got an early lead, 1.2 seconds almost. Let's see if he can keep on to that lead. Kapil usually a bit of a surprise sometimes, because sometimes he can be very consistent and just lead and go away. Sometimes he can make this odd mistakes, 1 or 2 mistakes happening in the middle of the race. So it's a very long race, 35 laps coming up. So let's see what's going to happen. A lot of shuffling around going in the backside. Somebody's trying to overtake someone else, and see Alpha Tauri driving on the inside of the Ferrari. Ferrari giving space, but he has to go a bit wide. Now he kept the space of the Dwajin, trying to find his way around and defending from Simply Whitey behind Harry Roxia as well. Everybody settling into their positions after lap 1. Everybody on pretty much forming a train already. So hopefully no more incidents, and everybody can race a bit more cleanly as well. We see Dwajin going by a bit wide, going into the entry, the chicane. I think that's it. Oh no, he's fighting back. Dwajin fought back and simply gave space, so that's a good amount of racing from them. Now Dwajin kept his positions now. So sorry for cutting you off, but yeah, that was interesting.
I was going to mention the battling between Simply Whitey and Dwajin, as well as we have Dwajin going very wide on the Ferrari, as we have a kind of a sneak peek from Ashtray onto Simply Whitey, but he backs off, as he should, because there was no way he's going to send a dive from Narnia, as we have Simply Whitey and Dwajin still going for it, and Shastry might be rubbing his hands, because the more they fight, the more closer Shastry comes, and we have, I believe, one of the Red Bulls battling with the Real SD in the Williams. Yes, it is. And that's a move from Sir Danish down the inside of Real SD. Not a big of a battle put up by the Real SD, but then I really feel bad for the Alpine normal group there and the Red Bull of Castelnovene. Castelnovene, on the other hand, taking out all the start finish line. Didn't even make it a corner 1, but then normal group player just getting yeeted while battling one of the horses. I'm not sure if it was Asim Banatwala or Moto. as we are on board rather cooked behind Envy, who is
Yeah.
followed closely behind Moto.
Yeah. One more
That's
thing I wanted to talk about was the big gainers from all first three laps. I think Envy was the biggest positive for him because he's on mediums and he's on the top five already. So that's going to be very interesting to watch how it's going to pan out. Hopefully, no safety cars in the wrong time for him. Defend, keep it together. He's in a very, very good position for the entire race coming up in the next 31 laps. And Harry Rock's getting 5 positions as well. So that's very, very good for him coming out of the top 10 into the top 7 here. I think he's on softs, or maybe even mediums, I think, sorry. So he's in a good position as well. So all the medium runners in the top 7, top 8 positions are looking good for the race. Now it's on, the ball is on the soft runners. Just pull away in these first laps and maintain the gap so that when it matters, they can fight with the medium runners and fight with the alternate strategy.
well. Now that you've mentioned safety cars, for the incidents that are Casanova and Nomo had, there were no safety cars because they did not crash out. Surprisingly, I'm surprised that Casanova didn't DNF after that horrendous bang onto the wall on the left side in the start finish line. So I would say safety cars are completely out of the question as long as the drivers don't touch the curb on the fast left-hander sector on the beginning of sector 2 and don't crash out in the chicane in sector 2. Otherwise, it's going to be safe sailing for them. The only thing the drivers need to keep an eye out are their track warnings and time penalties are going to committed from that. With 5 laps in, 3 laps to go. No penalties as of now. Place 6 need to fly away in this as well. We have Black Sheep following this behind as we have Ashley following Simply Whitey. Is it
Oh,
going
that's
to
a
be down the inside? He
That's
is
a big
still keeping it clean, beautifully maintaining gap between the two of them. Enough respect given from Simply Whitey to Ashley. Beautiful race between these two as they touch a bit. They're still going wheel to wheel. This gives me very good memories from 2020 when Max Verstappen and Mick Schumacher were battling in the Haas.
Yep, that was very good racing. A bit of wheel banging, but I don't think anybody has them, so that's good enough for them. And yep, Asher gets a position from Simply Whitey. So Simply seems to be struggling a bit, or maybe already suffering with the tire wear just 5 laps into the race. I think the softs are going out already. Meanwhile, the top 4 are just as they were, but everybody's close. Only Kapil seems to have pulled a 2 to 3 tenths gap relative to lap 1. So apart from him, everybody's looking close. So nobody is easing off as of now. Especially Envy is very very close to Moto on those mediums, and now since we're seeing soft tires going away, maybe he'll get a chance in a lap or two to overtake these guys. But has to stick together. No battling, guys. Just stick together and just get those positions in the right way through the strategy and through good racing.
If both the Haas drivers manage to get Black Sheep, it's double podium for Haas and they're just going to extend their lead in constructors and also will give Moto a big boost in the championship because, mind you, Couple A6, Moto and Real SD are the top contenders for the championship on the drivers. And we have a lot of wheel banging with TPYT and Tuwajin. Tuwajin will not be happy with what's going on. Might be fuming in the cockpit right there, but Ash was going very wide. I did mention to stay from the curb, but not so far away from the curb, because we are getting into killer curves and kill real estate in qualifying. Ashray, as mentioned, struggling. He's falling way back, he's bogged down, and he's completely missing out on the battle that Tuwajin and Simply Whiting are having if they do manage to touch. And as I mentioned, we touched
Harry Rock spinning.
that
Harry Rock
is
spinning
having
around.
rocks on the exit.
That is spin number
of-
2.
Yep, that sure is spin number 2. Harry Rocks.
That was
as Koushik mentioned, Harry Rocks one of the few drivers who gained massively on lap 1 is completely lost all.
Asher pitting already. Maybe his tires are gone, so at least the front tires are going off already. You see Panath here trying to go for a move on Black Sheep. Very aggressive. Oh, that's a bit of a contact for them. He almost spun around, but he kept it together. Now he's under attack from Moto here on his fellow Haas teammate. Let's see what they're gonna do. they fall back in line. So that was an attempt from Banath to get in front of Black Sheep and get that P2, but they lost a bit of time to Kapil now. So Kapil is a bit more comfortable, but Moto goes a bit wide, and we're looking at the rear of Moto, but can't get through as well. So everybody back in line again, but that was very formidable, try from Banath.
From what I can see, Azim Banatwala might have got that bit understeer, and Black Sheep might have given him the space that he needed to give to Azim Banatwala, and just had Azim not done too much. As we have going into the pits, he did everything he could to hold Envy back to keep Azim safe from the attack from the Ferrari driver, as we also see Black Sheep going into the pits. So the top two and the fourth position driver, second position being Black Sheep and the fourth position being Moto coming into the pits. Black Sheep has switched to the hard tires as well as Moto. So a few laps of very bad performing cards, but then once they get back up to temperature, there's a lot of grip to be had, as we still see Envy going for a full-fledged attack on Azim Banatwala. He's got over sector 1. He's gaining on Azim Banatwala. He might look for a dive on the inside. Gives a bit of a sneak peek as telling Azim Banatwala that I am right there behind you, as we have the first penalty. Wajid with 3 seconds up. It was our first target, as we see Envy not hitting the curves as perfectly as he would want to. But now he goes, Azim using every inch of the track. Envy has already lost 2 tenths in this lap, as we have a second penalty. Harry Rocks, who spun and is now also 3 seconds down. So as of now, he is, I think, lost 10. No, never mind. He's going to be still 10, just plus 1 second from Ashray.
I'm surprised Aradhya Gupta is keeping close tabs with these guys, because he's on soft tires and he should be going out already. I'm surprised Kapil hasn't pit on this lap as well. So maybe a undercut chance for Moto and Black Sheep perhaps. They have to get those hard tires working very quickly and get that pace back, because they could have a chance on undercutting Kapil Hayes here. Kapil Hayes, I don't know if he's doing the right strategy, or maybe he's a bit asleep behind the wheel or behind the strategy mind games. We see big battling here between Twajin and Tanish going around. Very good battling, but it was a bit of contact. I couldn't see what happened there. But they were, oh no, that's a big contact. Tanish is into the wall. Oh no. I knew that was something going to happen.
We have a retirement. Tanish has gone into the wall. We have a VSC that might be a report on Twajin that was very aggressive, defending and battling, but it was inevitable. It happened, but luckily for the few drivers, it is a VSC and not a safety car. And
I think Kapil might pit here. He might get to pit here, and now he's safe from the undercut chance.
He's going for the pits. You are right. This is completely the favor of the play 6, who is going to be safe
as well. But the biggest loser from this is going to be Envy, because he's going to lose a lot of time especially to Kapil, perhaps if he's aiming for the P1. But Envy is going to lose a lot of time here to Kapil because of the virtual safety. Because Kapil's going to get a lot of time because of the virtual safety car. But yeah, coming to that incident, I knew something's going to happen, because they were so close and they were pushing each other to the edge of the track. They were like pushing each other wide. So I knew something's going to get hairy, and I think Tanish pushed Wajin wide into the entry of turn 4. And Wajin just replied it back to Tanish, and then Tanish couldn't do anything about it. Spun around, hitting the wall and retiring. So unfortunate for both of them. Maybe Wajin got a bit of damage perhaps as well, but that's a bit of a hardcore racing going on between them. Oh, that's a drive-through penalty for Simply Whitey. As PSC finishes, I think he was above the delta, so that's a big blow for Simply Whitey. That's a big penalty. Drive-through, he's not going to recover from that unless there's a safety car pretty much down and under in the below the top 10 positions, as we see Harry Rocks getting past him. But yeah, Envy's only 10 seconds ahead of Kapil, so he lost out massively there. Envy is asked to put a drive of his life pretty much now to get that. Oh, Simply Wise, he goes for the move and he spun around. that's a very ambitious move from Simply. I think he was just frustrated with the penalty he got, and he
That
completely
was
misjudged.
that was a fair move from my point. From my point of view, I think Harry just completely turned it on because he was wheel to wheel before they even reached to the turning point of the corner. He
Yeah,
was
I
way
think
up.
that'll definitely be reported, and it'll be up for the stewards to decide what happened. But for me, it looked like Simply was a bit behind. He was not completely halfway alongside. He just dived in the last minute because the chicane is very narrow and very fast. You have to be very much alongside before the entry itself. So that's yeah. I think Simply got damage as well, maybe. So he has to. No, he doesn't have any damage. So I think he's gonna serve his drive-through penalty right now. Very unfortunate for him. He's already had a penalty and now he has to deal with that spin as well. Meanwhile, we see Moto behind, still behind Black Sheep, but biggest loser here is Banat because he's, I would say, biggest loser, but he definitely lost some time to both of these guys and he's now behind his teammate Moto. So he has to maybe make the move once again on Moto and get that position back because, yep, it's very hard when you're so similar in pace. I think these two guys, the Haas boys, are very similar in pace as well. So it's going to be very hard for them to overtake each other. Let's see what's going to happen. But these three are sticking together right now.
Looking at the standings, if everything stays as it is, a place 6 might overtake Moto in the driver standings in Tier 1. But if Moto gets stuff right and gets his stuff together, he
Yep.
might maintain the championship standings, or it might be equal on points if he manages to finish on good
Ooh,
position.
that's interesting. So Kapil is gaining a bit on NV. So NV is on old medium. So nothing he can do much. I think he's pushing it to the max. That's all he can do in terms of pace. But you could expect that with 11 lap old mediums versus, and I think he used them in quali as well because he qualified in top 10. So that's very worn out mediums versus fresh new mediums. So you could expect that pace difference between Kapil and NV. But right now he's doing well. But oh, that's a big snap of oversteer. As I said, he was doing well. But yeah, he kept it together. Very good reaction from him, especially since he's in controller as well. And this track is one of the hardest on controllers from my experience and the experience from other controller guys as well. They've been saying the same thing as well. It's one of the hardest tracks because they have very fast change of directions, especially in turn 9s and 10s, I think. Very fast change of direction. Sector 2 is very awkward on the controller. You can't make those changes fast, the direction changes fast on the controller. Whereas the wheel guys have the comfort of their wheel to simply just smoothly make those corners and not worry about oversteer or sliding those front tires and making those tire improve rapidly. But and we lost a second, I think, this lap or half a second round. Moto is getting, but he's not close enough to make a move on Black Sheep. So these guys are still in the DRS train pretty much, and I think this battle is going to go towards in the last lap unless someone makes a mistake. I think these three are going to stick together because they're very similar on pace, almost hugging each other every single lap. So these three are going to stay together. Interesting to see what Aradhya Gupta can do because he's in a no man's land because he lost out a bit because of these. Oh, he didn't actually. He actually gained. So he's in a similar position to Kapil. He actually got the podium now. So that's very interesting. So both Kapil and Aradhya are serving the getting served a good amount of luck, but these three guys are getting served the bad hand of the luck, you could say. So they have to keep pushing, keep up the pace because mediums could go off at the end. So Kapil and Aradhya may be in trouble at the end. These guys could still have some life left in these hard tires, so they can pressurize both of them at the end of the race. To see Moto and these three guys still entertained. What's happening behind them? Nobody's close enough, I think. Yep, Moto is still staying back. Behind them as well, everybody's spread out. Kash is trying to make up some moves. He's P11 now, so he's trying to push for that top 10. If he could gain that, he could keep gaining on Dwajin, he could get into that because Dwajin takes 3-second time penalty because of his track limit warnings. So he has to keep pushing as well. Let's see what's gonna happen. Kapil lost a bit of time in sector 2 of this lap, sector 1 of this lap. So maybe he had a hairy movement in one of those corners, or maybe got up in the curb sometimes, because he definitely made a mistake. Because he should be naturally faster with his tires, so if he lost some time, we could almost 90% say that he had made some sort of a mistake. I mean, while we see Real SD here is in a tough position as well. He's on 9 lap hold. He went very early for the pit stop, I think. He might have got some damage, so he went very early on the pit stop, but he's on hard tires. And he got a time penalty as well, so he has to suffer through all of that. And maybe he'll hope for some safety car or something to mix things up here. Well, no more pro player. Another disappointing lap for him coming here, because he's not going to gain any positions. And he's very much off the pace, very much off the P13. He has to vote on that safety car as well. A lot of people still, I think, praying for a safety car, because their lucks could change, but it all has to happen something out of their hands to make it happen. Meanwhile, Dwajin very close to Wilster GA here. I think both are on similar lap. No, Wilster on hard tires, old hard tires. Dwajin on the mediums. I think that's why he was gaining on Wilster. So maybe he can overtake him in the next lap going around. Harry, meanwhile, he's still not pit. Harry hasn't pit yet. So I think because of his spin, he's trying to make up the track position in some way or another. That's why he decided not to pit and just suffer through with these old medium tires unless something comes his way, like a VSC or an SC, so he can use that and not lose too much time in the pit stop. So whereas he's losing a lot of time though, Wilster and Dwajin, and they're catching up very rapidly to so they can try to pressurize him in the next coming laps. Meanwhile, both Moto and Banath consecutively dropped out of DRS of Black Sheep. So Black Sheep, I think, pulled out a good lap and now kept Moto out of his DRS. Same with Banath and Moto as well. Banath is not out of the DRS of Moto, so they have to push again to keep those to get back into those DRS range, let's say.
A lot of action happening in the middle part of the pack. Meanwhile, Black Sheep and Banat, as we have been expecting for a long time, have maintained track position, but then, yeah, I feel bad for Harry driving those miserable 15 lap old mediums as well as NB mediums, but surprisingly, he's maintaining the pace to the place 6 as we have full strategy with 2 second time penalty, gaining on Harry Rock's bit of an oversteer moment from first strategy. Beautiful cars with that chicane. Beautiful. As Harry leading this pack from B8, 9, 10, I believe. All of them with critical abilities. So this is going to be a battle on the racing track, as we have a lot of wheel banging. Harry wanted to defend the inside, but he did not close the inside as much as he could. And Wilster gets the position, but then Dwajin going for a diver from Narnia and gets spun around by a Wilster G. And you gotta feel bad for Dwajin. I mean, I don't know if you should feel bad for him, but the nasty dive bomb from I don't know where, but he has lost out on the opportunity. Harry has also in the meantime fallen back. G gets 2 positions, but very aggressive positions. As we go back to 4, 5, 6, still maintaining the gap. There's not much of an action going on the track in terms of battery. But
Yep, I think it's just strategic games right now. I'm surprised Kapil hasn't gained anything yet. He's doing very good, I must say. 16 lap old medium tires. He's actually gaining lap time on Kapil, even though it's only like hundreds of a second every lap, maybe. But he's still gaining lap time and he's still keeping that gap. So if a safety car comes out right now, he will be in the prime position to get that race win. Hopefully, something good happen, because I want to see NB fight with Kapil. Kapil is one of the veterans of the community, and he's definitely a very good guy to always race with, because he's very on edge in terms of track battle. Sometimes he makes mistakes, sometimes we make mistakes, but you can be always sure that whatever battle is going to be with him is going to be exciting. So I want to see a battle between both of Envy and Kapil, probably looking at the top two guys in this race so far. So hopefully we could get that some way or another. While Akash Sonavane very close with Harry Rocks here. Harry's still not pitting once again, deciding to stay out. I think he's just testing his luck as of right now, and within 4 or 5 laps, I think the decision will be out of his hands, and he has to come into the pits in a few laps because he could get very close to the puncture territory if he goes too far into the race. Meanwhile, Dwajin, after his spin, he's now almost 8 seconds behind Real SD. Whereas Akash, as we saw, cutting a bit on the inside curve and now getting a penalty as well. So the everybody from P8 to P1 now has a time penalty. So that will be very interesting to see what's going to happen in terms of their racing strategy. Dwajin, as I said, very big loser from that contact, I think with Wills to G. So he has to fight back again, but I don't see him fighting back because the gap is too much and the pace is too close. So, yep. Meanwhile, Moto still in the DRS. I think that's what he was trying to push for in the last time we saw both of them. He was trying to push in the sector 2 to get close and get the DRS detection to Black Sheep, because DRS is a pretty much a boon for anybody behind the leader. Because you could just save so much fuel, so much of tires. You know, Akash looking for a move, and goes a bit wide. He brakes very hard, trying to go for a move, but can't do anything. Gets DRS once again, but can he move? Can he make the move now? Harry moved to the inside. Akash going to the outside, trying to go around the outside of Harry here. He could make the move. No, he doesn't. He goes on the curve and goes really wide. So that was not good enough, because I think both of them on similar age tires. So nobody has any advantage over each other in terms of tire wear. So I think that's why Akash Sonavane went a bit too wide. Oh, we see a big incident with Moto. He got a time penalty. That's going to be very interesting because of who's going to get on the podium, or maybe even going to get these final 4, 5, 6 positions. As we see, Shastry spun around. That's unfortunate for him, but yep. He was fighting with who was he fighting with? He was fighting with Wilster, I think, and he just spun around. Ariok's going. Oh, I think they made a contact. That's why the driver was swerving a bit. Yep, Shastry is trying to get back to the pitch here. Oh, he goes a bit wide. That was dangerous for him. He could have gone into the pit wall and scratched there. But yep. Moto, what's he gonna do? He got a time penalty. So only way he can get these positions back is through absolute pace. He has to pass Black Sheep. He has to kick him out of the DRS range. Keep pushing and get past the 3-second window to have any chance of gaining any position here. Because if he's not going to do anything, he might lose out to even Banath. But Banath lost out himself. Surprising, we didn't catch that. But Banath lost a lot of time to both of these guys, so he might have made a mistake, or he's just out of DRS range and he's losing a massive amount of time on the straights, perhaps. And now he's very, very far behind Moto. So that's going to be interesting to see. Meanwhile, no more pro player. Finally, he gets some sort of hope. He's not alone in this race finally for him. Shastry is behind him, but Shastry is on fresh new medium tires. So the hope is not going to last for a long time, because Shastry is just going to pull away here. Even though I think hopefully my pro player might be the faster driver, I think the natural pace advantage of the fresh new mediums might just be too much for him as well. Meanwhile, we see Akash Sonavane once again very close to Harry Rocks. Maybe he can make the move this time around. Very close this time around. He's get the DRS. He's trying to go for the move here. Let's see what's going to happen. He's outside. He's going to brake very late. Yeah, both of them brake very late. Harry takes the inside curb and he keeps the position. Harry keeps the position. They're still going side by side. Now so Akash is on the inside, so he gets the upper hand. Can Harry fight back? No, he can't. Those tires are just not gripping up for him. He's just understeering wide. He lost the position there to Akash Sonavane.
As we're reaching the end of the race, we're seeing a lot of bad thing going on now. Harry might want to pit now. I don't think those tires can last much longer, but he's making it count as much as he could. As we now see SD now catching two cars in front of him in the hard tires, which are 16 lap old hards and Harry on 20 lap old mediums, and Picasso now on the 18 lap old mediums. As you mentioned, the Hotlap there in the back of the grid has now been accompanied by Ashray, who goes on fresh mediums. Uh, I don't think anyone mentioned noticed, but Virgin also has another racing penalty, so he's I think one of the few drivers to one of the only drivers to have 6 second penalty. Meanwhile, all the drivers are racing penalty. And as I mentioned within the race, we're going to have time penalties as we now see SD going on the outside, Harry defending from the inside, but he can't do much because SD on the better gripped hard tires and Harry on the forward out medium tires. I'm surprised he's still out on the grid. What do you think is the optimal puncture territory for soft tires if he does put forward?
Soft tires or medium tires?
Soft tires.
Soft tires, very hard to say. I think the game is scripted in a way that once you go over 75%, close to that range, it could happen anytime. So soft tires usually happen. I mean, with the common logic, you could say that because they are softer compounds and the tread could get worn out much faster than hard compounds, you could say that they could get punctured at like 80%, something very close to that range. Meanwhile, hard tires can go up to like 90% without any puncture. But yeah, I think Harry is trying to just do his best to not get puncture, but still make them as far as he can to get some sort of hope. I think he's still waiting for that hope to come in, but it's very hard because nobody's making mistakes. Everybody's grouped out, everybody's spaced out. No battles happening anywhere, so the hope is diminishing for all those guys who are hoping for a safety car on DSC. Unless someone crashes out by himself, I don't see any such thing happening right now. Meanwhile, you see Moto here still with the time penalty, still couldn't get past Black Sheep. Ashray, I think on fresh medium, setting the fastest lap time of the race. And I'm surprised as well on one more thing. Envy still hasn't hit. We've been talking about Harry Rocks, but Envy is on the race lead, still hasn't hit, and he's only 8 seconds. I should say I'm saying only, but that's a lot of time because it was around 9 seconds when Kapil came out of the pits. So he only lost like 1 second, 1.5 second in all those laps, almost 10-15 laps he's been doing. Those lap times, he only lost 1 to 1.5 second to Kapil Ace. So this is a very good indication that he was probably the fastest. He had probably the fastest race pace, but unfortunately for him, it's not working out because unless he pits and goes to soft tires now, and he has the pace to throw it. So actually, you know what? I think he has a good chance. I think he'll definitely could get a podium at least. NV here. Meanwhile, we see Harry going to the pits, finally going into the pits. So let's see what compound he's going to go. I definitely think it's going to be soft tires. But soft tires with 11 laps almost, it's going to be very hard for him as well. Because this track, even on soft tires, first of all, they're going to overheat massively. If you have a very aggressive setup, the tire overheating is a good possibility. So that's why everyone prefers the hard tires. I think Black Sheep, Moto and Varnas prefer the hard tires as well because the soft tires have grip and maybe you can make them last long. But the one thing you can't control enough are the tire temperatures, which are very high in this track. So I think that's why they paid for the hard tires. Meanwhile, Harry Rocks is on soft tires, so that's confirmed then. Meanwhile, NV finally pits on lap 24 and he comes out just behind Moto. That is very good for him. Moto is on penalty, so he could get that 3 position. I don't think that's what NV is aiming for. Now he will be on a charge. Can we go on board NV here? Yep, let's see on board NV from right now. 10 laps. I think it's going to be pretty much sprint pace for him. Every lap is going to be qualifying for him. To push through and trying to make a move without getting damaged or getting involved in an incident. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what he can do with all that pace he had in hand. Can he do something? So even at the race lead, still 10 laps left. If he can get past these two guys very quickly, he can even aim for the race win. Let's see what's going to happen. Very interesting at the dying stages of this race.
It's going to be really exciting, and I cannot imagine the pressure that Envy might be going through because he's seeing the blinking light of automotive knowing that he is low
Look
on
at
track.
that. He's getting so much time on braking. Oh, that's very close.
And he goes
Oh,
for
just be
a
careful.
sneaky peek on the inside, but now he has more superior grip than Moto, but he knows that he's going to get an advantage on the DRS. Goes for a switchback, beautifully done, textbook switchback, gets the DRS, is now still
Ooh, they bang tires.
trying to tires with each other. Black Sheep's going to be looking at all the chaos happening behind him, and he
Yep.
knows that it's his turn next. He gets one position down, one more to go to get onto the podium and
I
on
think he
his
might
first
try. He might
stop.
try it here. Oh, that's
If he
I
does not
didn't.
press it over there, there is a
Yeah.
chance that he might go for it in the sector
One
3.
thing.
He's going to
Yeah. One
go
thing I
for
want
it.
to mention is how alert you have to be behind a slower car in this track. We saw, I think, in tier 2, some guy getting caught up behind a slower car and just losing his front wing because he just broke too late. But actually, he just broke on his braking point, but the guy in front was too slow for him. So that's the big thing to watch out for because he has to be very careful here. NV, he has to not lose lap time, but also be careful not lose any front wing as well. I think he's just setting it up for the main straight here, so he's just holding back right, trying to get the DRS detection going into this lap.
Like I mentioned, he's not going to take a move on second sector because he knows that's going to be very, very dangerous and it is not going to end well. But now, here we go on to the start finish lane. He has open sector 1, yellow sector 2, but then that gives you a good idea of how much space he really has. They are straight. Black Sheep veering around to break the
Ooh,
slipstream very, very close. Bang wheels again. Flashbacks from Barcelona between Valtteri and Vettel. He gets the move done onto the
yep,
podium.
that's it.
It is.
That is it. That's it done for him. He's on podium, but the big question mark is how much. Oh, Moto pits. Interesting. Oh, he might have had damage from battling, or maybe. Wait, why is he going on medium tires? That's very interesting. Meanwhile, Envy, the big thing is can he catch up to the race lead? That's going to be interesting because Envy has so much pace now. He can set those purple sector times and get that lap time done. But he's not doing so well right now in this. Flagship is still holding on to him, so maybe he has to push a bit too much. Sorry, bit more than the pace right now. I think he's suffering with tire temperatures. I think that's why you can't push too much. Because once you start getting the tire temperature up, it's going to be keep on sliding, especially getting that understeer. It's just going to keep on pushing your car in the front axle, getting it wide and wide. I think it's a very good lap time right now. He might get the purple lap time perhaps, get that fastest lap. Let's see what lap time he's done. It does a good lap time and he doesn't get it. Well, yeah, it doesn't get it. Vajin gets it meanwhile. Let's see what's gonna happen. Around 7.5 seconds, the gap between P1 and P3. Still 7 laps left.
Can
Can
we
he
go on
get?
board P11? Can we go on board P11 because I see a move happening at P11? Yep, he's right in Akasunovan right on close with Ashray. Ashray going very wide. Akasunovan might go for a dive bomb. No, he backs off. Both are on. Sorry, Akasunovan is on fresh softs. Ashray on 6 lap old mediums. It's going to be a move moving up, and you'll see Happy bombs far off in the distance. This is going to be a very good move for Casanova. Easy move into the DRS, but never mind. Ashray is flying off. It might be back onto the breaking point if Ashray manages to break that much bit later than Casanova. Depends the inside. It is not going to be a move for now. And pushes Casanova by. And Harry is just looking at the view happening in front of him, praying that both of them take each other off and he gets 2 positions down.
Yep, Akash is to be a bit more smart than this because Ashra is just gonna break late and push him wide just like it did before there. Now when we set the fastest lap, now he's pushing and he's around, what is it? Oh, he's closed up almost a second and a half, 2 seconds on just that lap alone. So he's just, what is it? Just 5 and a bit seconds away from P1. Still 6 laps left. Ashray is defending very aggressively. He went a bit wide in the chicane and now he goes back onto the track and is very defending very aggressively from Akash here. Akash on the better tires but couldn't get past because he has to be a bit smarter than this, to be honest. Just like Envy is, he has to just hold back now, be close onto the final corner, be close onto the DRS detection zone, and get that move done cleanly. into turn 1. Ooh, he's very close now. Very close now. What is ERS? He has good amount of ERS as well. Let's see what's gonna happen. He has DRS now. ERS. Can he make the move? Oh, that's a bit of a. Oh, that's very questionable. He went a bit off track there, but he came back on track. There was no space, but he took it anyways, and now he's in front of Shastry, swerving a bit to say how happy he is, I think, to get that move done. Shastry being aggressive as always.
That was a very big Barrichello and Michael Schumacher moment.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Envy almost caught up to P2 Aradhya Gupta as Harry Rocks get a penalty. Envy is very close to him, so he might already get P2, but the big question mark is P1. I'm sure he's going to get P2 unless he gets damaged or get involved with the racing incident. There's no way Aradhya Gupta can stop Envy from those brand new soft tires, just 4-lap old soft tires, and he's going to defend it with 19-lap old medium, so no way it's going to happen. So right now for him, Envy is just going to close up all that gap in Sector 2. Sector 3, he's going to be in the DRS detection zone, and he'll try to go for the move into turn 1 just like all. So what's going to happen? It's going to be a very interesting lap coming up here. Everybody else is spaced out, only Harry Rocks is close to Shastry, but they're on their own turmoil as well. Meanwhile, Akash on a bit fresher, softer tires than Envy, setting the fastest lap. So I think that's it in terms of fastest lap who can get it, unless someone pits right now. So no fastest lap for all these top guys. Envy is very close. He's using. Oh, that's a bit of oversteer. He's very careful because he's on controller, I must say, and so it's very hard to push on the controller, even if you have brand new soft tires. So very close. He got the DRS, but I don't think on this straight it's close enough. I think he'll just push. Oh, gets a bit too close. Braking zone. Now he gets DRS again. Can he make the Wajil? His teammate spins around into turn 1. They lap him, but now Envy, can he do it? Is very close, but the soft tire seems to be wearing out already.
Wajil just got the pure gas treatment, getting lapped by his teammate. I believe Austria 2019.
Yep.
It's bad.
One thing that has impressed me, one thing Envy has impressed me with is that this Hungary is known to be a track which is quite difficult to overtake on, and obviously Envy had that explosive advantage of having fresh softs over the really worn out hards of Banat and Moto. But still, and he has almost half a moment there, but managed to keep himself in shape.
I think he's getting nervous. Might be getting nervous because he couldn't get past. I think he was expecting to get past Aradhya in the lap, but he couldn't get past. So now he's just looking at that lap counter, and he's thinking, "Oh, I have to get past now because P1 is right there, just 3 seconds ahead of the road. You can get the very spin." So he's getting very nervous. He wanted to get the race, but now he just has to push for P2. Focus on this lap. Focus on this position. Get it done first.
Well,
very close now.
The one thing to note is that the softs on this track are very volatile because unless you set your tire temps to the lowest possible mark, these soft tires are going to be melting. Like by the time you hit sector 3, like when you cross the start finish straight, your tires would be at around 110 degrees. And especially since Envy is driving on controller, he will be might be locking up all over the place. So that will be a big problem to deal with.
One other thing now to mention is Aditya Singh has donated $600 rupees for our stream. So very big thanks from all the streamer guys here. Thanks for that, and we welcome it. He says Ice Wallow come. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means exactly.
No, completely moving on. I think you need to mute yourself and just repeat that once again, and then you'll understand what he meant by that.
Oh no!
Yeah,
What the hell?
There we go. There's a reason.
What did I do?
I did not mention that donation.
I'm too innocent for this stuff, man. Meanwhile, you see Envy are going for the move for P2. Can he make the move stick? Can he get that position? He seems to have got it already. Now Aradhya is aiming for the switchback. I think he's on controller as well. Doesn't get that much of a traction, and he's now done. So Envy, 2 laps to go, 2 seconds to close. Can he get that race win? I played myself, I have to say. I'm too innocent for stream donations. I have to erase that from my consciousness.
It's okay, but then as we are still on board with Envy, 1.6 seconds, 2 laps
But
to go.
I think it's worth it. For $600, I think that's worth it.
These are the front tires of Envy going orange. No.
Yep. Just understeer and understeer. He gained around half a second, maybe even 6 tenths on his lap, but he has to gain a bit more. He's not close enough for the DRS. He still has one more lap after this. Has 2 more laps, I think, after this. So it's not over all over yet. But the biggest thing is, even if he gets close, Kapil will be a formidable opponent to get past, especially on the wheel. He's going to be a bit more comfortable than MB, even though medium tires. Kapil is always very aggressive and very on the
He
edge
might be
driver.
deploying his ERS because he's already gained like 3 tenths on the bloody start-finish line. I don't know
Yep.
how he managed to do that. Can we go on board Kapil and see how much ERS he has left, as we have seen Banatwala into the pits? He has 64% ERS, and on board Envy, how much does he have? He has half of what Kapil has. It's going to be ERS management city right here, folks.
Yep.
And as we have Azim Banatwala in the pits, he is filled with softs. He might just finish in P6, which he is not too close to get that position, or he might get that position. And Wilster does not get the position. He's 1.6 seconds off from Azim Banatwala, but he's on fresh softs. So nope, he's not gonna get P6. But at least the Haas boys finish side by side again, P5 and P6.
NV is
As-
close. NV is close. He's if you can keep it up, you can get into the direction zone. But is it going to be enough? I don't think so, because Kapil has the advantage with the ERS. Even if he gets close, he can just stick together. And only chance he has is in the turn 1 or turn 2. But Kapil has too much ERS, even with the DRS of NV hold off against him. So let's see what's going to happen. In the final state, he has 50% ERS. He's deploying it, everything he has. NV is close, but not close enough.
He's closing, and he is 5 tenths behind Kapil is 6. As he is deploying ERS again, he's just 17%. I believe Kapil is might be 30%, 25%. There he is, 30%. I was bang on with my speculation, as both of the drivers are equal in terms of tire wear. Let's see what's going to happen. This is the final lap of the race, entering sector 2.
NV is pushing.
NV is going to push now. Both the drivers taking each corner spectacularly well, 4 tenths off. It's gonna be the final sector.
Very precise.
Very precise indeed. He needs to maintain gap in this technical sector 2, because this is the only time he can use to gain on publicity. The only time that he can make a move. He is kind of gained 1/10, but now he's losing time. The only time that he can now make a move is on the start finish lane when they get DRS. But I don't think it's going to be a DRS moment. I think Kapil 6 might be running off with a win, but
that's it. It's a bit of a that's it. That's done.
That's done.
Kapil gets it.
Beautiful drive from NB, but you have to give it to Kapil 6 for leading every lap of the race.
No, it didn't. NV led in the middle as well. So
I'm sorry, yes, but he did lead. He did start from pole position and didn't finish in the lead of the race.
Yeah, I have to say,
beautiful drive from NB. Aradhya Gupta P3, Black Sheep P4, Moto P5, Banat P6.
Not a good race, I think. I think he was hoping to get that podium done and dusted, but I think a few mistakes done with the strategy. He has to look back and see what happened.
He steals fastest up the race from NB.
Yep, Haas getting those points to maintain that lead in the constructors. So very good team play from both of them. But I must say, as the final of the top 10 runners come through the finish line, I must say the top 2 guys were in their league of their own. I must say, because yes, Aradhya Gupta, I have to give him to him as well, but both Kapil and Aradhya, especially NV, because Kapil and Aradhya Gupta got a bit lucky with the VSC, but NV just kept it together. The pace he had, the race pace, especially on the medium stint at the first stint, race pace he had was just unbelievable, because I couldn't understand how Kapil is not getting that much time despite like 15 laps going on. So both of them in a league of their own. Comment drive in the top 3 guys, all the podium guys. So very good, congratulations for all of them.
Beautiful final lap. scenes we had over here in the Hungaroring in Hungary, as we have the drivers entering the podium, and now we are also going to have the podium interview in here in the com box as we are going to go to the top 10. Couple of six, the Alfa Romeo starts P1, finishes P1. Envy in the Ferrari started P9, finishes P1. Aradhi Gupta P7, finishes P1. Black Sheep started P2, not so good. Uh,
I
I'm
think you're
sorry.
reading it wrong.
Yes. Thank you so much. Couple of six P1, finished P1. NV started P9, finished P2. Aradhi Gupta P7, finished P3. Black Sheep started P2, not so good, finished P4. Monomoto started P5, finished P5 as well. Azim Banatwala started P4, finished P6. Buster G started P14, finished P7. We have a lot of gainers from this race. Uh, that's amazing. Real SD started P13, finished P8. Akasunone started P3, finished P9. I think Akasunone was the Red Bull driver who got yeeted into the Shadow Realm on the start finish straight. We're going to see what happens to that report. And Ashray running the top 10 started, I do not know where. He started P8, finishes P10. That rounds up your top 10. Beautiful race, beautiful last lap scenes from the drivers, that is Envy and Couple 6. As we will now get the finishing drivers into the com box for their interview. As currently we have Prati Gupta and Envy. I don't know where couple A6 is. I see him. I'm going to drag him to the com box without consent. Yes, we now have the top three finishers of our Hungarian Grand Prix. Couple A6 finishes P1 couple. Good talk. Good talk, couple. Envy, you finished P2. In the final few laps, you were gaining a lot of drivers. What do you want to say about this race?
Nothing. I'd say the VSC when it came out at a very wrong time. I would say that. I guess that saved a couple. So I think I would have gotten that race now.
Oh, you think we have got a P1 as well?
I would have. Yeah, I would have won. I guess.
Oh, that's nice. And correct me if I'm wrong. You are on a controller, right?
Yeah, I am on controller.
That was beautiful pace from you, blistering laps after lap. But when you pitted for the softs, what was going through your mind when you saw Black Sheep and Moto battling out in front?
I knew that I'll come behind them, so uh, I had a tire advantage.
But then
Yeah,
Hungaroring is
exactly.
known to be difficult for overtakes.
Yeah,
So where are you
so
planning your overtakes?
I had some practice. I was quite confident on getting the overtakes done on the main straight, which actually happened. So yeah, it went according to plan, I would say.
That's amazing. And Aradhi Gupta in the McLaren finishes P3. Aradhi,
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
what? Yes, we can hear you. Volume's a bit too low for me at least. Can you increase your input?
Just give me a second.
No, sure, absolutely.
In the meantime, why don't we switch to couple?
Now it's better.
No,
Kind of.
Aradhya, we are
No.
still not able to hear you
Okay,
audibly
I'll
enough.
just
Couple is six. Hello, sir. P1.
Yeah,
How does it feel?
it was a good race. Yeah, even my strategy didn't go according to plan. But hey, the BSC came. I said, let's just take it. I actually wanted to go a little longer on the softs, like lap 12 at least. And then I was just so my mindset was just preserve the tires. But I think I did a too good of a job at it because by the time NV came, I was just like at 40% wear after 22 odd laps. And then I realized, okay, no wonder RJ was catching up to me so quickly. I was just nursing it like I did with my grandma. So it was just It was an interesting race. I would have loved to, if the VSC wasn't there, I would have loved to see how it would have turned out. Like Envy said, he's confident that he would have won. I'm not so sure, but it would have been a much closer contest and something more worthwhile watching. But I'm sure he gave a wonderful show to everyone. But for me, plain old race, just looking at the timing sheets for the most part, and then getting dazed by it, making a small mistake, losing a couple of extra tens because of it, and then try to get that back in the next lap with a little bit of a push. That was like rinse and repeat probably 5 times. So that was that.
So in some sense, this was a Sunday drive for you.
No, I mean it is Sunday and it's a drive, so I guess you
My
could say that.
good lord, I should not have mentioned that to Kapiles of all people. So you were not worried that one bit at all that envy on the fresh softs was closing up on you?
No, not the fact that he came out behind the two hard runners, I knew that it was a done deal.
Ooh, so if he was ahead of those, then you might have considered the threat?
Yeah, I would have pushed a little harder, sure, and it would have come down a little closer. But yeah, that's what I see. Because I'm sure he lost like at least 3 seconds behind the hard runners, which is a
Oh
significant
yeah,
amount of time.
yeah, he did lose a lot of time on those hard runners, but congrats on running the soft medium try strategy. As Eccentric did mention in Tier-1 chat, he commends you for that beautiful work.
Okay.
Good race. Aradha Gupta.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we can now hear you. Congratulations on P3. How did you feel after this
Yeah.
race?
Yeah, thank you. That is my first podium, and it wasn't an easy race for me at all because like I was having FPS issues for some reason to the whole race. But for overall, if you see the race, it was actually pretty like boring for me. Like it was like after but the VSC for me came at the like I think so perfect time for me because like I was able to gain on moto and black sheep, so I was able to stay ahead of them from the hard runners. And after that it was just a boring race, but my mediums were at the end I was like a bit scared because my mediums were at 79% when I crossed the line.
Whoa, 79%. Oh yeah, I did remember seeing your front lefts completely red.
Yeah, it was
That's a
it
big
was like
risk.
completely wearing out. I was like losing like I think so 2-3 seconds per lap to black sheep because just wanted to get to the end.
And you did mention this is the first podium, and you are P7
Yeah.
currently in the standings. So congratulations on the first ever podium in IRC.
Thank you so much.
And that wraps up our podium interview for Indian Racing Community Esports. Thank you for joining in. And as always, I hope you guys have a good night and stay safe during this time of pandemic. And once again, happy Gura Purwa and Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you.